Hello and welcome to York News, a brief look at what's new and what's happening in York County. I'm Gail Whitaker. Coming up on this edition of York News, the French tall ship Hermione docked at Yorktown's Riverwalk Landing June 5th through 7th.
This is what we call a work session, so the agenda is slightly different.
Up first, the Board of Supervisors held its most recent meeting on Tuesday, June 2nd.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to present the Youth Commission's final report of the school year.
At the meeting, the board received a presentation from the 2014-2015 Youth Commission. The board presented the commissioners with a resolution of commendation
Sarah Little from Bruton High School from District 1.
And introduced the newly appointed commissioners for the 2015-2016 school year.
Biomass is organic material that comes from plants and animals.
The board also received a presentation from Queens Lake Middle School students about discovering energy resources in our community. Following the presentations, the board held a work session on the Chesapeake Bay Total Maximum Daily Load Action Plan. The board approved all items on the consent calendar. These were minutes of a previous meeting, the purchase of a sewer cleaner vacuum system, and the discontinuation of the Williamsburg Regional Issues Committee. The next meeting of the Board of Supervisors is scheduled for Tuesday, June 16th at 6 p.m. in the boardroom of York Hall. There are 6 public hearing items on the agenda. A proposed ordinance to increase the ambulance transport fees in accordance with the amounts included in the fiscal year 2016 budget, an amendment to the York County zoning map reclassifying land at 7307 George Washington Memorial Highway from limited industry to medium-density single-family residential, a special use permit to authorize a home occupation with a non-resident employee at 616 and 700 Dandy Loop Road, a special use permit to authorize an indoor firing range at 1558 Penniman Road, a special use permit to authorize a recycling plant at 1540 and 1558 Penniman Road, and a proposed amendment to the York County Code allowing extended display time for temporary signs associated with business properties located on a road undergoing reconstruction. Public hearings begin at 7 p.m. For more information about the Board of Supervisors meetings, please call the County Administrator's Office at 890-3320. The Board's complete agenda, including all supporting materials, is also available on the county's website at www.yorkcounty.gov. Board of Supervisors meetings are retelecast on WYCG-TV on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 11 a.m., 7 p.m., and 11 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday at 3 p.m. Programs scheduled for 6 p.m. on the board's meeting dates will be preempted by the live meeting.
Some of which we probably would like to pursue and move forward on.
Meetings are also available both live and on demand on the web. WYCG TV programming on the web may be reached by logging on to the county's website and then selecting WYCG on the home page. The French tall ship Hermione docked in Yorktown last weekend. The ship arrived on Friday morning to the delight of visitors who lined the shore to greet the sailors. Yorktown was the first port of call for the ship, which left France on April 18th. As the ship was tying up to the dock, a wayfinding marker was unveiled, recognizing the Washington-Rochambeau Revolutionary Route National Historic Trail as it converged on Yorktown.
You would never have expected that from a lowly voyageur.
Citizen tours of the ship began at 2 p.m. on Friday and continued throughout the weekend, along with a traveling exhibit and heritage village that were set up on Riverwalk Landing. When the tours ended on Sunday, an estimated 7,200 people had toured the ship, and Yorktown had welcomed 20,000 visitors. The ship left Yorktown on Monday afternoon. Our thanks to everyone who made this event a huge success, and we wish the captain and crew of the Hermione a safe journey up the East Coast before heading back to France. That's all for this brief edition of York News. Please join us on June 24th for the next edition of York News. Until then, thanks for watching. We leave you now with the Hermione arrival and welcome ceremony, followed by the commemoration held at the Yorktown Victory Monument on Friday, June 5th.
Good morning and welcome to Yorktown. Please rise, which most of you are, for the presentation of the colors and the playing of the French and United States national anthem.
Left, 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 right, left, 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 right, march time, march, left, 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 right, left turn, march, left, 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 right, left, 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 right, group, hold, present, hold. Right turn, on, left, 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 right, left, 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 right, forward, on, left, 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 right, left, left.
I'm Tom Shepard, Chairman of the York County Board of Supervisors. Au nom de mes collègues du Conseil d'administration, c'est un honneur pour moi de vous accueillir dans ce magnifique front des rivières, alors que nous célébrons les réveils et de l'Hermione. On behalf Try that sometime. On behalf of my fellow board members, it is an honor to welcome you to the beautiful waterfront as we celebrate the arrival of Hermione, a replica of a ship that brought the Marquis de Lafayette to America to assist us in our fight for independence in 1780. We are all here today to welcome the captain and the crew of the Hermione, and also to celebrate the human spirit and the drive to achieve, which is evident when you look at the pier and see the Hermione docked. However, we're also here to celebrate a man of spirit, determination, and vision. I'm speaking of Marquis de Lafayette. When he sailed on the Hermione in 1780, the Marquis was no stranger to American shores. He had fought as a member of the Continental Army in the early years of our struggle for independence. On his return in April of 1780, the Marquis brought with him not only the promise from the King of France of additional support in the form of 6,000 troops and 7 ships, but also an enduring friendship that has lasted centuries. The Marquis resumed his place alongside General Washington and the Continental Army and was among troops setting siege on the battle headquarters in Yorktown in 1781. As you walk through Yorktown, you are walking in the footsteps of our nation's first president and the many Frenchmen to whom we owe our thanks. For example, the Marquis de Lafayette, the Comte de Grasse, the Comte de Rochambeau, the Vicomte Noailles, and so many others. Not only were these French heroes fighting in Yorktown, but the Hermione participated in the naval blockade and assault on the British forces from the York River. Today we celebrate the French who gave so much during the forming of our nation. The original Hermione and their combined legacies. But we also celebrate the small group of individuals who first raised the possibility of reconstructing a replica of that ship called the Frigate of Freedom and sailing her across the Atlantic. We celebrate the people across the globe who have raised the necessary funds for building her, and we celebrate the craftsmen who toiled to construct the magnificent sailing vessel. Finally, we celebrate the captain and crew of the Hermione for a successful ocean crossing. Together, you have made history, and you deserve to be recognized. While we know that the ship was built in modern times, to us and to Yorktown, it feels as though we are welcoming home an old friend. At this time, I would like to introduce our governor. We are fortunate to welcome Governor Terry McAuliffe here today. Governor McAuliffe has been a bold and energetic champion of the Commonwealth. He has been resolute in his pursuit of economic development and tourism opportunities for Virginia. He traveled around the nation and the globe, personally delivering Virginia's calling card to job creators and trade partners. His selection as chairman of the National Governors Association is a recognition of his leadership on the issues that we face today. It is my pleasure to introduce His Excellency, the Honorable Terrence R. McAuliffe, the 72nd Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. All our folks here who've come from France, Madam Minister, Ambassador, Admiral, and everybody else, Congressman, welcome to the greatest state in the United States of America, the Commonwealth of Virginia. And if some of you poor souls are from one of those other 49 states, use this as an opportunity to find a home and move here, because we truly are the greatest. And if you're not, at least spend all the money while you're here. Welcome to Yorktown. Welcome to Virginia. Captain, it is great to be with you. Dorothy and I just had an opportunity to tour the ship. She is spectacular. There were about 79 crew that came over. The original crew was about 250. It's amazing what you can do with a little modern technology. But it was a crew of about 79. And there were about 50 volunteers on that ship that came over. So I know we gave the captain a great round of applause, but they're all up on that ship sitting there. Let's hear it for the crew that came over here. And Captain, we thank your wisdom and forethought for obviously coming to Yorktown first, to the Commonwealth. He will be heading off to Mount Vernon, then he'll go to those tiny little states in Maryland and Pennsylvania and Massachusetts, those irrelevant states. So, Captain, we commend you on your brilliant choice of states to come to first. As we know, the original frigate that carried Marquis de Lafayette to America was built in 1779 and bragged a 32-gun artillery. It did not, as I just toured, have two 400 horsepower Italian engines that the frigate is now packing today. But at the time, that ship could outsail and outgun any ship on the seas when it was on the sea. It was the pride of the French Navy, and the British Navy was jealous of that ship. Remember, I'm Irish, heritage. For Americans, the arrival of this fantastic ship came with the promise of more ships and more Frenchmen to fight all alongside us on our cause and fight for liberty. Those men and ships were essential to our victory at Yorktown. This was great news for General George Washington, particularly because the Pledge of Assistance was brought by one of his closest friends. The Marquis first came to America in 1777 when he was just 19 years old. He was orphaned as a toddler. The Marquis soon developed an affectionate bond with General Washington, who at the time was 25 years his senior and did not have any children of his own. During the Revolution, the Marquis wore the blue uniform of a major general in the Continental Army. It was more than just a young, flashy aristocrat making a statement, as Washington quickly recognized. Washington shared with the Marquis even the most sensitive information that was withheld from other military officers. And the Marquis kept a very close eye on the troops. In one case, warning the general that a particular officer was being extremely obnoxious in Virginia. The letters in their friendship continued long after the Revolution was over. Indeed, General Washington confided that he typically answered the Marquis' letter as soon as they arrived. The Marquis worried about the struggles of a new nation trying to define itself. Washington worried about the young Frenchman's safety and the turmoil that was going on in Europe. The Marquis pestered Washington to please accept the presidency, while Washington insisted that the office of the presidency, quote, has no enticing charms. If they only knew. There were letters welcoming the Marquis' new son, who was named George Washington Lafayette. In another letter, Washington admitted that he was reluctant to visit his friend in Paris because he did not speak the language and feared that the French women would find him awkward. The two men even corresponded over their experience and subjects of the famous French sculptor Houdin. And today, both of those priceless works, as you know, are in our rotunda in the Capitol in Richmond. The two men also debated profoundly serious issues confronting our new nation. The Marquis tried to persuade Washington to free his own slaves in an effort to encourage a national emancipation. Washington agreed with the goal, but did not believe the country would accept it. And he let this crucial opportunity pass without acting. The Marquis was brave enough and wise enough to see in his friend and in this new nation a greater good that we were able or willing to see in ourselves. We settled for less to the Marquis's great sadness and to our own regret for far too many years. I'd like to think that today, Washington and his good friend would be pleased at the progress since this ship first arrived in America. But they would also urge us to continue our work, folks, to make this Commonwealth and this nation the place where all Virginians and all Americans have equal opportunities to success. 6 months before the Marquis set sail on his return to America, Washington wrote, "Your forward zeal in the cause of liberty, your singular attachment to this infant world, and your strict and uniform friendship for me has ripened the first impressions of esteem into such perfect love and gratitude that neither time nor absence can ever impair. The ship we welcome here today to Virginia is the product of 17 years of dedication to the cause of liberty by so many individuals on both sides of the Atlantic. It is also a tribute to a friendship between two men and two countries that has lasted for centuries. We celebrate this day with the assurance that we are both stronger and better because of that friendship. Thank you for being here today, and to the French, thank you for all that you have done for the United States of America. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Mr. Miles Young. He's president of the Friends of the Hermione Lafayette in America. He lives in New York, his adopted home, and when he speaks, you will understand what I mean by adopted. And is chairman and CEO of Ogilvy and Mather, one of the world's largest and most storied advertising communications companies in the world. Mr. Young.
Your Excellency the Governor, Chairman Shepherd, Madame la Ministre, the story of the Hermione operates at many levels. At one level, it symbolizes a tipping point in history, the journey which brought the news to General Washington of wholehearted French support to the American insurgents. How appropriate it is that the Hermione has arrived here in Yorktown, because that news led to the decisive presence of the Expedition Particulière here at the end game of the Revolutionary War, where the Hermione on the seaside and Lafayette on the land side were reunited. But at another level, it is the story of modern day audacity. Lafayette's motto, "Why not?" describes this well. Why not build a completely authentic replica of a French 18th century frigate and sail her to the United States? That was the question, even a little bit crazy, that a few visionaries asked almost 20 years ago. My task today is simple: to pay tribute to the Association Hermione Lafayette, who made it possible, to its inceptor, the then mayor of Rochefort, Jean-Louis Frot, his successors, Monsieur Grasset and Monsieur Blanchet, to the famous author Eric Orsener, and most especially to Benedict Donnelly, whose dynamic energy drove the project forward. To Maryse Vital, the CEO, and her team, and to the board and foundation who have supported them, represented here by Olivier Pagesi, Alain Bordeaux, and John Crawford. The cry, "Why not?" was taken up by the Department of Charente-Maritime and then crucially by the region of Poitou-Charentes, without whose critical support the Hermione would not be here today. Then by millions of people, some 4.5 million who came to Rochefort to see her. There are over 7,000 active supporters, and many of those have come here today. Vous êtes le cœur de l'Hermione, le cœur palpitant. Vous êtes l'esprit de l'Hermione, l'esprit qui demande toujours pourquoi non. Bienvenue à Yorktown. Then of course, all those who have worked on the maritime side to get her here. And finally, the wonderful and diverse crew led by our charismatic captain, Yann Carew. Your deep professionalism, your relentless dedication has literally fulfilled the dreams of millions. There are many others to thank. Our sponsors, most notably Moet Hennessy, who've been crucial in their support. In the United States, we have a wonderful and enthusiastic team operating in 11 ports. Our dedicated Executive Director, Judy Killichand, and here in Virginia, our magnificent Chairman, Jim Dillard. And finally, I must thank York County. Tom, your team, Brian Fuller, Vivian McGettigan, Laurie Coleman, Gail Whittaker, and many others. They have been touched too by the spirit of Hermione, and they have done an amazing job. In the next 6 weeks, the Hermione will move up the eastern seaboard with a rich program of entertainment and educational and cultural events, leaving the US in Castine, Maine, one of those very small states, on July the 15th, just after Bastille Day, and possibly with a hangover. It's an amazing adventure for French and Americans alike. This is a day to remember. Thank you.
Now it gives me great pleasure. Representing France, I am delighted to introduce Minister Ségolène Royal, the Minister of Ecology, Sustainable Development, and Energy. She has held the position since 2014. Ms. Royal has also occupied several ministerial posts between 1992 and 2000. She chaired the Poitou-Charentes region of France from April 2004 to 2014 and has remained a regional counselor since May 2014. Ms. Royal holds a degree in economics and was the runner-up to the French presidency in 2007. Madame Royal.
Governor and Mrs. McAuliffe, President Shepherd, Congressman Whitman, Captain Cariou, Monsieur l'ambassadeur de France, je salue les autorités civiles et militaires qui ont été longuement citées tout à l'heure. Dear friends of Hermione, ladies and gentlemen, I am very happy to join you here today in welcoming the Hermione on behalf of the President of the French Republic and the French government, and as Minister in charge of the sea and sustainable development. May I add how proud I am that this extraordinary adventure came to fruition in part thanks to the support of my region, Poitou-Charentes. Today, a dream becomes reality. A dream of thousands of volunteers led by Benedict Donnelly, involved for more than 10 years. A dream of territories and their citizens, Poitou-Charentes, the Department of Charente-Maritime, représenté ici par Madame Marcilly, and the city of Rochefort. A dream for 50 small corporations specialized in all the handcraft needed to rebuild the ship the way it was in 1780. For the carpentry, the sails, the ironwork, and the foundry of guns. The voyage of Hermione was the pivotal moment that founded this fraternal alliance between the United States and France. An alliance that never failed each time vital stakes were at play. First, the cause of freedom in the New World. Then, into different conflicts, the liberation of France and of Europe. As President Obama said when the new Hermione sailed off the coast of France, for more than 2 centuries, the United States and France have stood united in freedom we owe to one another. From the battlefields where a revolution was won to the beaches where the liberation of a continent began, generations of our peoples have defended the ideals that guide us, overcoming the darkness of oppression and injustice with the light of liberty and equality time and again. Now, Mr. Governor, I will bestow upon you the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizens that I gave to the Hermione crew when she sailed from Rochefort on last April. This founding text for our Republic was largely inspired by your Declaration of Independence. It was Lafayette who first proposed to our Constituent Assembly in 1789 that it adopt the Declaration of Rights. I wanted to symbolically bring this important text to the land that gave it its initial impetus. As Lafayette wrote, "For freedom to thrive, men will always have to rise up and shake off indifference and resignation. Long live our friendship." Thank you.
Here for the French.
Now we'll have a presentation by Delegate David Yancey, who represents the Virginia's 94th District. Delegate Yancey.
Well, good morning to everybody. Good morning. It's a wonderful day. Commandant Carew, distinguished guests, Governor McAuliffe, Congressman Whitman, ladies and gentlemen, from the moment Lafayette arrived in 1777, we will celebrate 238 years of the historic friendship between France and the United States. In the Virginia capital, surrounded by our founding fathers, Washington, Jefferson, and Madison, is the statue of Lafayette. March 14th is a day of honor in Virginia for the Marquis de Lafayette. And all of this because of one ship that brought over a person so critical to our independence and participated in a battle pivotal to securing that victory. It is my honor to present to Commandant Carew this commending resolution from the Virginia General Assembly celebrating the arrival of their Hermione. Commandant, s'il te plaît. De temps en temps, je parle un peu français. Merci. Oh, tiens. Oui, en français. So, alors. En nom de son Excellence, le gouverneur de la Virginie, et de mes collègues et l'Assemblée générale de Virginie, j'ai l'honneur de vous présenter une proclamation à l'occasion de l'arrivée de l'Hermione à Yorktown. Bienvenue à Virginie. Je vous remercie de garder le flamme de la liberté en vie et sachez que vous serez toujours nos amis. Merci, thank you, and God bless France and the United States of America.
I'd like to present a proclamation to you welcoming you and your crew to Yorktown, Virginia. We have followed your progress on the internet, and count down the days until your arrival. We hope your visit to Yorktown and the remaining ports on the east coast of the United States bring you happy and lasting memories. And when the cruise is over, he's going to be lucky that he's in a frigate, because you're going to need it for all the proclamations and gifts that you will receive from a grateful many people here in the United States. I want to read this one in part because these proclamations that the Board of Supervisors hand out have a lot of meaning to us, and particularly this one because of its tie to just our history and to the people of France and what you absolutely represent. And so I want to cover a part of this, and we'll let you kind of stand there with that. It says, whereas on March the 21st, 1780, French Major General Lafayette boarded the ship Hermione to travel to America to join American insurgents who were struggling for the independence. And whereas after a 38-day crossing, Lafayette met with General George Washington to announce the impending arrival of French troops to join the American fight. And whereas within 18 months, the American French troops won divisive victory over the French in the Chesapeake Bay. Excuse me, over the British in the Chesapeake Bay. And then in Yorktown, where American independence was finally won on October the 19th, 1781. Whereas in 1997, a small group of individuals had the dream of reconstructing a replica of Hermione and retracing the historic voyage bringing Lafayette to America in 1780. And whereas this dream has become a reality, Hermione set sail in April, launching an adventure to the United States in the summer of 2015, making an unprecedented voyage. And whereas the first port of call for Hermione will fittingly take place in Yorktown, Virginia, June 5th through the 7th, and the County of York has made preparations for her arrival and has scheduled various events and celebrations for the occasion. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the York County Board of Supervisors that it does hereby designate the period of June 5 through 7, 2015 as Welcome to Hermione Weekend in Yorktown, Virginia, and does hereby express its best wishes to the captain of crew for a happy and eventful visit, and fair winds and following seas for the entire voyage of Hermione as she continues her way up the American eastern seaboard. Captain, this is awesome. I have another gift for you. Thank you. Okay. And York County is also presenting to you a barrel plug to commemorate your visit to historic Yorktown. The barrel plug is made of the finest mahogany and was handcrafted by craftsmen at the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation and is a symbol of our shared colonial heritage. Okay, I think we got it. Okay, very good. So everybody understands, the Navy folks here will truly understand the importance of the barrel plug. It's a traditional gift. I, being an old Air Force guy, and I think some of the friends out here being Army probably don't appreciate the value here, but this is a wonderful gift, and it's really a gift of honor. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Over the course of history, billions of words have been spoken and written about the principles of freedom. But it was the soldier on the field, the sailor upon the water who made the ultimate sacrifice to secure that freedom and a stepping stone to our future in the United States. That is the story and the bond between the United States and France. That is the story of Yorktown. Merci, Marquis de Lafayette. Merci, Hermione. Merci, Amis de France. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending the celebration today. We'll have many events that will continue on later. And again, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Yorktown Victory Memorial. Situated within the defence line of General Cornwallis, created for the centennial of the victory, and with a Statue of Liberty at the top. And I quote from the inauguration, attesting to the possibility of a government of the people, by the people, for the people. In 1781, tens of thousands of French soldiers and sailors fought off the Capes and here alongside their American allies. In the previous year, the Hermione had brought the Marquis de Lafayette to Boston with a message from Louis XVI to General Washington, promising the arrival of the army which would follow under General Rochambeau, and also the support of France's navy. In the months that followed, the Hermione fought repeatedly and gallantly in the Atlantic, before being ordered south to Chesapeake Bay. Meanwhile, Lafayette, having led a successful campaign through Virginia, fought under Washington's command against the British redoubts close to this very spot. I now invite Rear Admiral Bréjean, the French Navy's official representative, to give 2 readings.
An extract from Lafayette's notes at the Siege of York in Virginia. We worked on the redoubts, which were improved, and on new communications to the American batteries. We palisaded the ditch of all the batteries while they were preparing to unleash their fire at daybreak. Finally, on the morning of the 17th, all the new batteries opened fire. The enemy received fire from all sides: cannons, mortars, howitzers. They must have lost many. The parapets were crumbling under the effect of the bombs. The palisades were breaking down. We were blazing a secure route to march in by storm. And now, an extract from the journal of Captain Latouche-Tréville of the Hermione, Friday, October 19th, 1781. Moderate winds from the north. The surrender documents for York and Gloucester were signed this morning at 10 o'clock. Out in the field, 2 of the enemy's fortifications had been seized by your troops and those of the Americans. At 2 o'clock, the army of Lord Cornwallis, numbering 3,600 foot soldiers, left the city in order to lay down their arms in accordance with the terms of surrender, in front of 2 lines formed by the French army and that of the Americans. After having been subjected to this ordeal, the English troops returned to the public square without bearing arms, to wait until the American militias brought them to the states of Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Virginia.
Today we commemorate all those who gave their lives in this place. Would guests please come to attention for the presentation of the wreath by Madame Ségolène Royal, representative of the French Republic, accompanied by His Excellency Gérard Haraud, the Ambassador of France, and then remain for attention at the playing of Sonnerie aux Morts.